was having lunch down the street and I saw your husband walk by with a woman.
So?
Can I ask, was that Christine Lind?
Yes.
Did she just get to town? Is she a close friend of yours?
Yes, what does that have to do with anything?
I used to know her too.
I'm aware.
You know about that. I thought you might. Anyway, my question for you is very simple. Is Mrs. Lind getting a job at the savings bank?
It's completely out of line for you to ask me that. As you know, as my husband's employee. But I will tell you anyway. Yes, Torvald gave Christine a job this morning because I asked him to.
I suspected that.
Thought I have a bit of influence. Being a woman doesn't always mean, well, you know, when you're in a subordinate position, you have to be careful around people who have
influence.
Exactly.
Would you be so kind as to use your influence on my behalf?
What are you talking about?
Would you please be so kind as to help me keep my subordinate position, as you called it, down at the bank?
Is someone trying to take your job?
Don't play innocent, Mrs. Hellman. I'm sure your friend wouldn't want to worry about bumping into me at the office, and I can guess that's also the reason I was pushed out of the door just
That
now.
has nothing to do with you.
All right. Anyway, there's still time for you to help me stay in my job.
Honestly, it's not in my power to help you.
Really? Because you were just talking about...
I mean, obviously, I didn't mean that kind of influence. You think I have that influence over my husband?
I've known your husband since high school. I believe he can be swayed.
Are you being rude now? The door is that way.
Feisty.
I am not afraid of you. In the new year, our business together will be over.
Listen, I'm prepared to do anything to keep my job at the bank.
I can see that.
It's not just about the money. That's the least of it, actually. You probably know, since everyone seems to, a long time ago I committed indiscretion.
I heard something about that.
It never went to court, but that didn't matter. It was like every door was closed to me from then on, and so I started doing the business that you know about. I didn't have much of a choice, and I've been fairer than most. But my sons are growing up, and I owe it to them to earn back some respect for our family. That job at the bank was like the first rung on the ladder, and now your husband wants to kick me off the ladder back into the dirt.
Honestly, it's not in my power to help you.
Because you don't want to. But if I had to, I could force you. You wouldn't
tell Torvald I owe you money. That would be a shameful thing to do. That you would take my secret that I am so proud of and use it in such an ugly, nasty way, then it should come from you. That would just be incredibly unpleasant.
Unpleasant? Is that all?
You know what? Go ahead, tell Torvald. He will see what a terrible person you are, and then he will definitely fire you.
I asked you a question! Is a little unpleasantness at home all you're afraid of?
We will just pay the rest of the money, and our business together will be over.
Listen, I can't tell whether you have a very bad memory or you don't understand what's at stake here. I think I have to explain a few things.
What things?
When you came to me to borrow money, I said I'd find it for you on a few conditions. Now, you were so preoccupied with your husband's health that I think you might have missed some of the details. Allow me to remind you of them. I wrote up a promissory note.
Which I signed.
Right. And under your name, there were some lines for a guarantor, which your father was supposed to sign.
Which he did. He signed it.
The date was left blank, so he could sign and date it. You remember that?
Vaguely.
I gave you the promissory note to send to your father. Sound right?
Yes?
Which you must have done right away, because 5 or 6 days later, you brought it back to me with his signature, and I paid you the full amount.
I have been keeping up with the payments, haven't I?
Mostly. But to get back to the subject, that must have been a hard time for you, I imagine.
Yes, very hard.
Your father was also sick, if I remember?
He was dying.
He passed soon after that?
Yes.
Happen to remember the date.
Father died on September 29th.
That's right! I looked it up. And so we have a little problem that I can't seem to work out.
What problem?
The problem, you see, is that your father signed the note 3 days after he died.
It's impossible.
Your father passed on September 29th, but he dated his signature October 2nd. Isn't that puzzling? Can you explain it? It's also striking that the date isn't in your father's handwriting, though the penmanship does look familiar to me. But that's okay. Your father might have died before dating his signature, and then someone did it for him before realizing that he died. Nothing illegal about that. What matters is the signature itself. And that's genuine, right? Your father did sign his own name.
No, he didn't. I signed it.
I don't think you realize what a dangerous confession you've just made.
Why? You will get the rest of your money soon enough.
I have to ask, why didn't you send it to your father?
Because he was dying. I couldn't ask him to guarantee the money without telling him what it was for, but I couldn't tell him Torvald's life was in danger because he was lying there dying.
Maybe you should have canceled your trip.
That trip was to save Torvald's life.
But didn't it occur to you that you were defrauding me?
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about you. You were making it impossible for me to get the money when you knew how sick my husband was.
You have absolutely no idea what you're guilty of, do you? I think I should tell you it's more or less the same crime I committed all those years ago, the one that ruined my reputation and my life.
Are you trying to tell me that you did something noble to save your wife?
The law isn't interested in motives.
The law is stupid.
That may be. But if I take this contract to court, the law is what they'll use to judge you.
No, that's not right. What, a daughter doesn't have the right to prevent her dying father from worrying? A wife doesn't have the right to prevent her husband from dying? I may be no expert, but I know that there are accommodations that can be made in situations like this. And you ought to know, you are a lawyer. You must be a lousy lawyer.
That may be. But you do realize this business we have together, I know a great deal about that, right? Good. You'll make your own decision, but I'll tell you this. If I'm thrown back into the dirt, you're coming with me.